Good evening. You're now with me, Lorenzo Isaac, for TVS Nightline. Here are the headlines for tonight. The Sarawak government announces an additional 10 million ringgit in relief funds to assist flood victims across the region. Meanwhile, Sarawak Deputy Premier Dato' Amar Douglas Ukambas says there is no need to declare a state of emergency. And in world news, US investigators plan to push forward with efforts to retrieve the two aircraft involved in a crash in Washington that killed 67 people. The Sarawak government has earmarked an additional 10 million ringgit to the State Disaster Management Committee SDMC to assist disaster victims across the region. Premier Sarawak Datuk Petinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg said that this additional funding will enhance the distribution of relief aid in affected areas.
Jadi pihak kerajaan menambah peruntukan kepada State Disaster Committee 10 juta. 10 million additional allocation bagi siasat membantu semua kawasan yang terjejas, dan juga mungkin ada pembinaan semula repair yang kita buat. Memang state disaster sudah ada peruntukan, saya tambah lagi 10 juta.
He made the announcement during his visit to the Red Crescent Temporary Evacuation Center in Miri earlier today. Meanwhile, he also expressed gratitude to Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim for the 24 million ringgit relief allocation provided to Sabah and Sarawak. Meanwhile, the Sarawak government is examining the best methods to support residents living in landslide-prone areas such as Kampung Lereng Bukit and Canada Hill. According to Abang Johari, such tragedies have occurred repeatedly, and relocating to safer, more comfortable areas could be a solution.
Kita akan membuat kajian, dan tadi seorang mangsa kata pindah je kami tu. Kalau dulu ada yang mau, ada yang tak mau. Apabila tadi disebutkan pindah je kami, maknanya sudah ada kesedaran masyarakat kita hendaklah tinggal di tempat yang lebih selesa dan keadaan yang lebih selamat.
There is no necessity to declare a state of emergency due to the ongoing flood situation in Sarawak, as was said by Sarawak Deputy Premier Dato' Amar Douglas Ukambas. The SDMC chairman said he is confident that the agency's tasked with addressing the situation can effectively monitor the situation and deliver comprehensive aid operations.
Bahawa gunakan arahan MKN 1 di mana ianya mandatory untuk semua agensi, government agency, state dengan federal, untuk bekerjasama dengan SDMC dalam jentera SDMC. Kerana sebelum ini bulan November kita dah beritahu military berapa dia hardware dia lorry, dia all the hardware, the police, berapa aset yang dia ada, berapa manpower yang ada standby for this to be mobilized. So when it is happening, that is being mobilized. So no more question, everybody will come in.
He said this during a press conference after visiting the temporary evacuation centers PPS in Syrian and Tanah Merah National School earlier today. In the meantime, he advised the public to remain vigilant and ready for any possibility, as well as reminded residents to comply with the authorities and evacuate to PPS if instructed.
But we'll see tonight. King tide is the highest. and then hujan nampak also not very heavy. But whatever is, our machinery are ready in tip-top to assist our victim.
According to UGA, the cooperation of all government agencies, including the Fire and Rescue Department, Royal Malaysian Police, Civil Defence Force, the Ministry of Health and STMC play a vital role in ensuring safety as well as smooth process of evacuation and aid delivery. 200,000 ringgit in relief aid had been donated to flood victims in Sarawak to help alleviate their suffering caused by the natural disaster. Sarawak Deputy Minister of Utility and Telecommunication, Datuk Dr. Abdul Rahman Junaidi, announced that the aid is an initiative by the Sarawak Islamic Council in collaboration with related agencies, including through JAKIM's Natural Disaster Fund.
Jadi Majlis Islam Sarawak melalui agensi-agensi telah pun mengambil inisiatif untuk membuat kutipan melalui solat Jumaat. Jadi hasil daripada kutipan tersebut, pihak Majlis Islam bersama dengan pihak JAIS dan juga agensi yang terlibat, agensi Islam telah pun mengutip sebanyak RM178,265.95 hasil kutipan sodak Jumaat yang dianjurkan pada 6 Disember 2024. Hanya satu Jumaat sahaja.
He said this during the handover ceremony for contributions from Sarawak's Muslim community to the Flood Relief Fund at the Sarawak Islamic Council office in Kuching earlier today. During the ceremony, Abdul Rahman officiated the cheque handover ceremony to JAKIM Sarawak Director Hamdan Jari, which was witnessed by Sarawak Islamic Council President Datuk Misnu Taha. 4 locations have been identified as flood-affected areas along the Pan-Borneo Highway in Sarawak. Works Minister Datuk Seri Alexander Nantalinggi said the affected sections include Package 03 from Serian to Seri Aman, the Selangor section, the P roundabout at kilometre 818 in the Simpang Bakun section, and Package 11 at the Pujut section near Eastwood Golf and Country Club.
Jadi saya difahamkan oleh pihak JKR Sarawak dan juga Pen Borneo dan sebagainya. Di sepanjang jalan Pen Borneo ni hanya ada 4 lokasi di mana jalan tu banjir. Tetapi yang paling penting sepenuh masa boleh dilalui kenderaan ringan pun boleh. Tak ada mana-mana ataupun masa perlu ditutup kerana banjir. Itu yang penting. Dan keselamatan dan keselesaan pengguna jalan raya juga dijamin oleh kerana ada pegawai memantau di lokasi-lokasi tersebut. Jadi 4 lokasi lah yang paling teruk lah di sini.
He said this to reporters during a site visit to Package 03 of the Pan-Borneo Highway from Serian to Seri Aman. In addition, Nanta expressed his appreciation to the Sarawak Public Works Department JKR for their quick action in constructing a bypass following a landslide. He said this not only demonstrates their efficiency but also their high level of commitment to ensuring road users' safety.
Ada. Yang saya ketahui ada di kawasan saya lah. Di Song, di daerah Song, iaitu kita panggil nama tempat tu Sipan Temarat. Okay. Mana jalan tu mula-mula dia separuh runtuh dan kemudian hampir semua runtuh tadi di lokasi itu. Sebab itu saya menghargailah JKR Sarawak sebab mereka ni dengan segera dan cepat, dan saya ditunjukkan video yang setakat ini sudah ada jalan alternatif untuk jalan sementara lah, jalan tanah, dan akan saya difahamkan dilengkapi dengan batu-batu nanti supaya tidak licin. Besok saya akan pergi ke lokasi itu. Saya difahamkan Pen Borneo mungkin tak ada lah ya, sebab Pen Borneo ni memang buat dengan bentuk untuk menangani masalah itulah ya, banjir lah. Cuma mungkin dia tempat-tempat tu di mana limpahan daripada sungai berdekatan, dia boleh kena banjir macam yang di sini lah. Tapi tidak ada risiko runtuh lah.
The Song Sipan Temalat Road was closed to all vehicles on Thursday following a landslide that cut off road access between Kanawit and Song. The temporary closure was implemented to allow authorities to construct a detour for light vehicles. However, heavy vehicles are prohibited from using the route due to unstable ground conditions, which pose a safety risk. Welcome back. Investigators today plan to push forward with efforts to retrieve the two aircraft involved in a crash in Washington that killed 67 people and raised questions about the air safety in the U.S. Capitol. Fresh from recovering the so-called black boxes from the American Airlines plane that crashed into the Potomac River after colliding with an Army Black Hawk helicopter on Wednesday, divers aim to salvage the aircraft and find additional components on Friday. The National Transportation Safety Board is studying the cockpit voice recorder and flight data recorder from the CRJ-700 airplane, which carried 60 passengers and 4 crew members, all of whom perished in the crash.
It's not that we don't have information. We do have information. We have data. We have substantial amounts of information. We need to verify information. We need to take our time to make sure it is accurate.
Authorities have not pinpointed a reason for the collision, which happened as the regional jet was trying to land at Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport. The military said the maximum altitude for the route the helicopter was taking is 61 meters, but it may have been flying higher. According to flight tracking website Flight Radar 24, the collision occurred at an altitude of around 90 meters. Radio communications showed that air traffic controllers alerted the helicopter about the approaching jet and ordered it to change course. Among the crash victims were people from Russia, China, Germany, and the Philippines, including young figure skaters and people from Kansas, the state from which the passenger flight took off. Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin said that more than half of the victims' bodies had been recovered by Thursday. Myanmar's military junta today extended a state of emergency by 6 months, 4 years after it seized power, triggering a civil war that has claimed thousands of lives. The military is struggling to contain armed resistance to its rule, suffering a series of damaging battlefield losses over the past year to an alliance of ethnic minority armed groups in the north and west of the country. A statement by the junta's information team said the ruling military council headed by Army Chief Min Aung Hlaing unanimously approved the extension. Elections cannot be held under a state of emergency, so long-promised polls that junta has said will be held in 2025 will not take place until the second half of the year at the earliest. Min Aung Hlaing told the ruling council that peace and stability is still needed before the state of emergency can be lifted and polls held. The military seized power after making unsubstantiated allegations of fraud in 2020 elections, which Aung San Suu Kyi's National League for Democracy won in a landslide. It has extended the state of emergency multiple times since, as it battles established ethnic minority armed groups and newer pro-democracy People's Defense Forces. Those were the updates on TVS Nightline. I'm Lorenzo Isaac. Thank you for watching and have a good night.